The answer that will work is this one here. So create yourself a number line and then place that on a number line so you can tell what goes in between. Number 5, Jose's family moved into a new home. He lives 14 7/100 miles from his cousins and 14 1,700 miles from his grandparents. Which of the following distance is between 14 7/100 and 14 1700? So I'm going to place this. So we were just finding the number in between. Is blank. So I'm going to make a number line. This is 14 7/100, 14 1700. Now look at this. Can't go over. You have to look at what place value do you need to look at to make sure that you're not going over. It has to be greater than a 0 and a 7, because I can have 14 and 8, 9, 10. Cannot go over 17. But this is at 20, right? Because I can put my 0 here. So that won't work. It'll be out here. 14 and 1/10. Could that be it? Because if I put a 0, it's 14 and 1/100. So that'll be about right here. 14 and 6/100. That'll be on this side. So that doesn't work. 1399, that's even further back. So that doesn't work. So the best answer here is going to be B. So make sure that you're looking at it and you're understanding and you at least tried, and then now if you don't understand it, you can now better understand it. Number 6, during a science experiment, a student had to make very accurate measurements of a test tube of water. The level was, so I'm going to get my green, 3 19,000, underline my unit of measure, millimeters of water at the start of the experiment. Okay. After 1 day, the level decreased by 11,000 milliliters. So I'm going to circle that other number. So it decreased and underline my unit of measure. What is a measurement that is less than the beginning level but more than the final measurement? So we have to do the beginning. I'm going to do it in green because that's what I did. And then the ending, but more than the final measurement. But it decreased by this. So what will we need to do? Now you've learned this already when you were adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, remember to line up your decimals. I only have the ones placed. I have the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So I'm going to bring down my arrow, or bring down my decimal. See, I'm just bringing everything down. Line that up. 9 minus 1, it's like 9 thousandths minus 1,000. That's 8, 0, 0, and 3. So I'm going to have a beginning. This was my beginning at 3 19 thousandths, and my ending is 3 8 thousandths. So it's saying what is less than the beginning, but more than the final. So let's take a look here. If I add it, if I have my 3 1/100th, now I needed to add a 0 here because I have thousandths that I'm dealing in. And remember we talked about 0 is my hero? This is what I have. There's 0 as my hero. Now I can read it as 3 10 thousandths. Would that fit? It's going to be on this side over here. I'm going to add a 0 because 0 is my hero. Will this fit? Oh, wait, I lied. I'm so sorry. Thanks for catching that, whoever did it. See me in the morning for a mint. So I have to, this would be over here. This is 3 and 20 thousandths, okay? So you got that? So I have 8 thousandths, 9 thousandths, 10 thousandths, 11 thousandths, 12 thousandths, and so that's 19 thousandths, 20 thousandths. Will this work here? So this is a question mark. 3 and 1 thousandths? Nope, it's going to take me way over here. I have 3. And I'm just kind of working backwards. This is working down, working up. I could have done my final here and then build it up. But as long as you're reading that. So the answer here is then going to be A. Because that's what's going to fit in between those. Does that make sense? Alright, let's go to number 7. Let's look at this model. It shows 1 and 15 hundredths that's shaded. So we have 1 whole and 15 hundredths. Which decimal equals 6 hundredths less than the shaded? So I'm going to cross out 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 1 whole, and then how many hundredths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 hundredths. And so the answer is A. This is 9 tenths. What would that look like? It would have it all shaded up to here. 1 and 15 hundredths, that's what we just had here. Because this is the same as this one. 1 and 21 hundredths, you would have had 1 tenth, 2 tenths, and then, so it's 20 and then 1. So that would not have worked. Okay, so you see how I just took away using my grid. Let's go to the next one. The times of 4 relay runners was documented below. Here's my relay runner. Runner A, B, C, and D, and there's their times. Which of the following is a true statement about the runners? Okay, so I'm going to take this first one, 11 and 75 hundredths, and compare that to 11 and 27 hundredths. Is that a true statement? That's equal, equal. I'm going to my tenths. 7 is greater, so it should go the opposite direction. So that's a false statement. I'm going to come to the next one here. 11 and 2 tenths and 11 and 27 hundredths. 0 is my hero. This is equal, 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 and I have to go to my hundredths for my inequalities to determine. And so that's 0. I'm going to put my 0 right there. That's not a true statement because 7 is greater than 0, so it should go the opposite direction. So that's a false statement. I'm going to take this one and go straight across here. 11 and 2 hundredths, and compare that to 11 and 2 tenths. So this is equal, equal. Here's my inequality in my tenths place. 0 is less than 2, so that should go in the direction. I have 0 as my hero. So 11 and 20 thousandths, or 20 hundredths is actually greater than 11 and 2 hundredths. So let's look at this last one. And I'm going to bring that over here. 11 and 2 hundredths and 11 and 2 or 20 hundredths. I'm looking at which place value does it change. Looking at the third one, where 2 is greater than 0. So 11 and 2 tenths is greater than 11 and 2 hundredths. So the answer is D. So you see how I went and showed all my work on that one. Let's look at number 9. We're looking at this table below to answer the questions. An Olympic shot put. Olympic shot put records. So are records. So 1988 is 22 and 7/10 meters. 1992, 23 and 600 meters. 2006, 22 and 6900 meters. 2010, 22 and 6/10 meters. Which statement below shows a correct comparison of the shot put records in order from least to greatest? A lot of you messed up on last Friday's test because you didn't do it from least to greatest. So I'm going to line up. I'm going to do 22 and 7/10, 23 and 600. 0 is my hero. 22 and 6900, and 22 and 6/10. 0 is my hero. I'm going to draw my lines, and I'm going to find out which ones have my inequalities to start. I'm going from least to greatest. So all my 2's, those match. So this one is going to be the largest, right? Because look at all these 2's. So I know that this is going to go last, and I have 4. So I'm going to put this number 4. Now I'm going to cross this out here because I'm done. So these now have all equalities. Now I'm looking at the 7 and the 6 and 6. And I'm working myself backwards. So that's my next largest. So that's going to be in 3rd place. And I can now get rid of that. You see how easy that is? Now I have these are equal. Now I'm moving over to the next one. Let me look at my inequalities here. This 9 is greater than the 0, so that's going to come next. And then my 0, I'll place that 0 right there. And this is going to come first. So I need to look at where 22 and 6/10 or 60/100 is going to be less than. So this is number 1. Because I have to look for number 1. So this can't work. This can't work. So now, process of elimination, I can get rid of those 2. So this is right and this is right. The next one, it is less than 22 and 6900. So this is correct and this is correct. Now, 22 and 6900 is less than 22 and 7/10 or 70/100. So look at this right here. This is correct, but look at this one. Is that correct? No, because that one's larger. This should have been this way. So this is a false statement. False. So the best answer is J. Does that help out? You got to work backwards sometimes when you're owning those numbers so that you can better understand it. And number 10, a group of Mrs. Holden's students were growing bean plants for a science project. At the end of 4 weeks, the heights of the bean plants were measured. The table below shows the heights of the bean plants at the end of 4 weeks. And I think y'all did that in 3rd grade, and y'all did that in kindergarten too. So we're looking at this one here. Plant R, this is how tall it grew. Plant S, this is how tall it grew. Plant T, this is what we need to know. Plant T had a greater height than plant S. So which height could represent plant T? So I'm going to line this up. This is plant S. And these are plants T. So I'm going to put, which one would be, first of all, I have to find one that's going to be at least 21 centimeters tall. So process of elimination. I have 20. That's too small because I need to find out which one had the greater height. Because plant T had the greater height. So that won't work. This won't work. And now we're at this one right here. So I have 21. That's right. And 21. That's this. So now I have to have it greater than. So I'm going to look in my, I'm going to place this here. 21 and 2/10 and 21 and 6/1000. 0.